The return trip to home was lovely. It was wonderful, guys. I thought I was going to do some videos that time I was up there because I think I said it before I left on one of the videos I did heading out of town that I was going to do a couple of videos. I think I even committed to it. But it's an interesting thing with the return of testosterone has also brought back focus on not the woman that I was trying to become, but the woman that means the world to me. And from the moment I got home, it was an interesting arrival. I drove for 2 days, got to the house. My wife and I happened to arrive at the ranch at the same time. She'd been in town, and I had just come off the highway and had come through the gate, and I saw her approaching the property as I was pulling up. So I waited for her, and we talked down near the barn at the beginning of the entrance of our property, and we had just a quick greeting. You know, this, how was the drive? Where are you coming from? You look great, honey. Oh, come on up to the house. The dogs are going to be excited to see you. I'm going to let them out one at a time so they don't jump all over you. And so, you know, there was that greeting coming home. And she didn't say anything about my appearance, but then again, she had seen me on FaceTime. Even on the drive, we were FaceTiming when I would take rest stops and stuff. So she knew what to expect. It wasn't like she didn't know what I looked like presenting as a man. I mean, she lives with me when I wasn't wearing makeup and stuff. So, but you could see that there was a certain amount of uh, I don't know what it is. There was just something that kind of eased her a little bit. Like that. I think she wouldn't probably admit it, but I think that it sort of eased her just to see me in male form. But she didn't say anything about it. The only thing she said was, "Honey, are you okay? Are you comfortable with being like that? You know, if you need to, you know, if you want to go back and put your makeup on, I'm okay with it." I was like, "No, not here, not on this trip. I really want to experience time with you." With testosterone, you know, coursing through me, and I'm okay. I'm okay just wearing t-shirts, sweatshirts, and jeans. I'm okay with it right now, and even like on a ranch, like who are you gonna dress up for anyways? I mean, my wife doesn't wear makeup when she's at home on the ranch. You know, it's the land of ugly shoes and flannel shirts, and that's fine. So getting home was nice, though. It was nice to actually, you know, for me as her husband to kind of feel guyish again in her company, you know, felt good. And then of course, got up to the house and the dogs came down and I'm getting all sorts of puppy kisses and they're slobbering all over me and they're running in circles and barking and totally freaking out because they hadn't seen me in 4 months. And you know, we've got these golden Irish mixed dogs, and they are characters, but they're very emotional dogs, and they're the sweetest dogs. And you know, they like one of them was like so like excited to see me. She peed a little bit because she's like she and I, you know, like I'm her human. Like when I'm around, like I'm the one she gravitates to. And from the moment I picked her up as a puppy, I remember I looked at her and said, "You have my whole heart." Like this dog is so adorable. I should put a picture up here or here or here. I'll put it up somewhere here, but I have the best dog. And then Hannah, her sister, same breeder but different parents, total adorable goofball. She's one of those dogs when she's happy, she smiles at people. So she's a hit in public because she loves people. She's goofy, doesn't have an aggressive bone in her body, and she's just goofy. But she's also like one of those dogs that's like hard to train because she's so goofy and such a free spirit. She's just kind of, she's forever going to be kind of pet puppy mentality, I think. But they were wonderful to spend a few moments with. And I couldn't really settle in and sort of relax and just settle into being home because we had equipment and storage stuff arriving at the house about 5, 6 hours behind me. So, but I got to go in and see the house remodeled in person for the first time. I'd only seen it through pictures when I left. You know, it was an interesting departure because when I left, I was still presenting as a gal and very feminine, nails done, and you know the way it had been for years, and with no plan of like leaving and coming back as male. I was just living as Shayna, OG Shayna, and the house was in complete disarray and still in under heavy construction, floors torn up, and tractors and cement trucks coming in and out. We weren't doing just a remodel. That was the intention was to do a remodel, but it ended up being major repair, restoration, reconstruction, and total tear out on the majority of the house. Was walls and studs out, and we actually had to jack the entire house up off the foundation to shore it up to fix the settling issue that probably happened 40 years ago that looks like it was hidden from us. So at any rate, we're dealing with that. We actually had to get an attorney because we believe we can prove that it was actually intentionally hid from us and should have been disclosed. So hopefully we'll get some of that back because it was a six-figure repair and we weren't prepared for it. And we paid cash for all that, and at a time where we probably should have been on a construction loan, but it was a money pit scenario. We did not have the intention or the knowledge that it was going to go as far as it did. Like each additional $20,000 seemed like it was going to be the last 20,000, and 6 or 7 times later, and this is just with the repair, it had taken our whole remodeling budget and gone fully into just stuff you don't see, but stuff that was absolutely more important. We didn't want to, we had to deal with the function over form. And then, of course, getting it to look good, we still had to spend that initial amount of money, but 2x because we had to replace drywall and studs and full repaint and full interior redo. And so I think that it went 300% over budget. So at any rate, I got to see it done and livable for the first time since we had bought it. And my wife got to see her remodeled husband for the first time in many years. So it was a homecoming of sorts. And the way my wife presented the house to me, it was so nice. And it was really interesting because I was feeling her husband. I was feeling masculine and loving towards my wife. And her love for me really showed in the way she had prepared the house. And I got to admire how she picked the paint colors and what she did perfect. She got the right colors. In my opinion, she made the perfect choices. It looks great with the flooring. It looks great with our furniture. And even when I got home, she had snacks and snack bowls for me. She had a fruit plate and a cheese plate. And the bedroom looked great. She almost felt like I walked into a really nice lodge style hotel because the way the bedroom was prepared, and we were hosting people for the very first time in the house in the guest rooms downstairs, and she was anxious to show me how she had prepared the guest rooms. She bought brand new towels for them and throw blankets and even after dinner mitts for our guests. And she had even little tiny heaters in each room in case they felt that the house was too cold for them, because my wife and I like a cool home. And so she'd gotten a couple little heaters and had them in the rooms. And it was like little Airbnb sort of setups. And she did that for our crew members that we had hired to drive a big 5-ton truck up there. And they were coming in a few hours. And so she actually prepared dinner for everybody. And it almost felt like we were at like a bed and breakfast Airbnb with room service. And that was my wife being a host. And so I felt that it was a lovely way to come home and experience the house. And it felt so good that I was experiencing it in male form, that like my wife was providing her husband with a homecoming. And I was seeing my wife as the only gal in the relationship, as the only female in the relationship. So very revealing time. It's great. I'm glad that I've passed the 2-month mark off the estrogen, and the last 5 months of feeling the testosterone begin to have an impact on the way I'm managing life and approaching life's problems has also been very telling. And it's also showing me that I get a lot more fulfillment out of my life as being a husband with testosterone versus a transsexual husband as far as the dynamic of the relationship. So that's a good feeling. And my wife and I are going to explore, because there are certain parts of me being a transsexual she likes. Yeah, as far as some of it, it allows us to do some things together that I probably wouldn't have done or wouldn't have enjoyed had I not experienced it as a gal myself. And I think there's a certain component of us going out as girlfriends, just to do a couple activities that she enjoyed and she liked. And we also think that being that I've got the body and the secondary characteristics that have developed and aren't going anywhere, that might be a really good way for her to experience my gender identity therapeutic cross-dressing with me, and we can make it ours together versus me trying to satisfy this femininity within myself, that she can participate in it, knowing that she's not going to lose her husband again, right? And then when we're around locally in town and dealing with life, friends, and our the local events and the social community in town that we want to get connected to, because we live in a very conservative Christian region, it won't be a distraction. It probably won't prevent any opportunities. And a lot of people up there that my wife knows, and a lot of the friends we've made because of social media, know that I was living as a woman. But it'll be interesting for them to get to know me as a man, and I think it'll help us build a strong bond and relationship up there. And I think it also helped for me to be able to use my transsexual experience within the community, as I'm absolutely against it for kids. And I think I'd be a great advocate to protect kids in the normalcy of there are only two genders, by perhaps eventually with the community sharing my journey, sharing my experience. So I think God's really putting us on the path that we're praying for. And it's showing in a lot of different ways as well, because on the way up on the trip, our company got a really good sized contract that took the immediate danger of like it bankrupting us. It didn't fix the problem, but it took the pressure of us off, and it allowed us to think more clearly on what direction we want to go with the company. I think I had expressed that we had entered a buy-sell agreement of the assets of the corporation, but not selling the entity, not selling the brand. And we didn't just get one contract. We ended up getting like three good-sized contracts. And we developed a relationship with another major corporation for a long-term contract. But we're still going to go ahead and proceed with the selling of the assets. But we had time to think of how to retool the company and change our business model in a way that'll have sustainability without the high overhead moving forward. And we actually got 3 times what we were asking for the company's assets. So some good things happened, all blessings. It was just a matter of doing the footwork, letting go, trusting in God, praying for inspiration, asking that God's will be done, and suiting up and showing up and doing our part. And now we're in a situation where we're not free and clear of the trouble. We've got some financial wreckage that we're going to have to manage and deal with, and sacrifices will still need to be made. But they're sacrifices that really feel more like God is putting us right-sized. And it's at a good time, because we also need this time to heal our relationship. And, I need to go through a process of living up to my male husbandly potential in the relationship, because that's been absent for a while. And I'm sure there will be some healing and some stuff to go through with my wife. And we went through some of that already up at the property. The first couple of days we had a couple of heavy, heartfelt, loving, but uncomfortable conversations. But once we got those out of the way, the rest of the time there, the following 12 days, were lovely. Just beautiful time. Husband and wife working out life, talking about fears, talking about hopes, talking about direction, praying together, spending time together, talking things through, and me sort of taking the role of husband, protector, provider, and breadwinner, and coming up with a plan that kind of eased all of our worries and ultimately gave us a sense of hope. So that's where things are right now, guys. That was the trip. The house, again, I wish I could have shown you guys what we're doing, because I want the channel to sort of go that direction. I think the detransition, transgender thing will always be a part of the conversation here. But as much as it's not the entirety of my life, it's just a part of my life. I want to get back to talking about my life, what I went through in my teenage years after living in an orphanage, getting into my years of alcoholism, but also finding my creativity and my God-given talents, my gifts. I've been gifted by God with some pretty amazing talents, and how somebody with only a 6-year education ultimately built our business over the years, and and could never get out of my way. Also, there were many years with all the potential that I had because of other issues and because of drug addiction and alcoholism and not practicing faith. And and of course the story goes on. I'm practicing faith. I've obviously built a pretty good life. Jeopardized it, some through my own actions, some because of things I couldn't control, but how we just keep moving forward. We go through hard times and we're moving forward. We're getting older, getting wiser, and we're also getting to the point where we'd like to kind of slow down a little bit and maybe just be happy with the life we've got and not be reaching for the brass ring all the time. Maybe it's time that we enjoy each other. I'm going to stop reaching for that ultimate quest of being a woman. I'm going to accept that I'm a man with gender identity disorder, but I'm also going to accept that I've got a wonderful woman, a wonderful relationship, and we don't always have to have bigger, better, best of. Sometimes enough is enough. And oftentimes I suffer from a condition that enough is never enough for the man whom enough is too little. But I'm working on that character defect, and that starts with just being grateful for the moment, for the day, for health, being grateful for the things that are already surrounding me. And sometimes that requires slowing down, being with the one you love, being at peace in the moment, and knowing that only God is in the moment, and sometimes the moment is just enough.